And so that plan, I would say, should be approved by you guys, by any club that doesn't want to spend their money. I always use the golden rule of 20%. If a club is carrying over in any given year more than 20% of what they raised, then there should be a good reason for that. They have a plan. Not just that they didn't have time to spend it or they raised more than they thought. That might be okay one year, right? They just had a really good year and they didn't have a good plan. We don't want them spending it just on anything. But then the next year we would expect them to spend that balance down unless they do have a plan. So having some type of carryover rule, some type of form that you could have if a club wants to carry over an excessive balance isn't a bad idea. Any form that I bring up like this one, or for new clubs, anything, we have examples in the manual that you could actually modify to fit for you if you wanted to. But this is a good rule to think about, not allowing your clubs to spend over a lot of money unless they have a plan.
Can I ask you a question, Michelle?
Uh-huh.
So Ascom started a few years ago charging, or the students are now paying a $9 fee, activity fee per semester.
Okay.
So we have all the students paying that fee, and they can opt out if they want, but most students don't know that they can do that.
Right.
It's kind of a process. So Ascom now has accumulated about 200,000 plus of money. So we actually have a CD now because there's so much money. So as a club, here, we're carrying that over year and year, which is a big chunk of money.
It's a big chunk of money.
So I guess with that, it's like, how do you look at that as in your position?
So I look at that as excessive.
Right.
Unless you have a plan of what to do with it. I mean, you guys have to have a bigger balance in case a club gets in trouble or needs a temporary loan, right? So you'd have to have cash to be able to loan them. So you need a bigger balance for that reason. But if you think about that, that amount's going to get bigger and bigger every year because your fee, if you're not spending the fee, so you need to have a plan to start spending. I mean, I think more than 100,000 in a CD is probably excessive, but I don't know what you raise altogether, so I'm just throwing out numbers. But I can't imagine, your seed money and what you might have to help clubs out is going to be more than that. So you need to kind of think about this fee that you're charging. Can we be doing more for the students? And does it make sense to have this much money? Because just sitting there, to me, that doesn't make any sense. To me, that's the opposite of what we do in student body. We should be spending what we raise. But that's me. I'm very conservative. And you don't ever want to be questioned, well, why do you just have all that money sitting out there? We have all these needs for our students, we need to do these things, why aren't we doing more? So you have to kind of think about that argument if anybody ever came and asked you that question. Okay. So when you spend money, so questions on anything so far? No? Okay, so I just want to remind everyone the money that we spend from student body funds, we do have to follow certain rules. A lot of times I hear, well, it's money raised by the students, we can spend it on whatever we want, right? And that's just not true. So this is just kind of a reminder on what we can spend the money on. Of course, whenever we spend money from student body, it has to be in compliance with the law, with the ed code, with the Constitution. There's certain rules involved with that. Also board policy. So, I mean, believe it or not, in some districts there are rules that say we can't buy flowers with district money. We can't buy awards with district money. Well, guess what? You can't either then. Not saying that yours says that, but I'm just saying your board policy does apply. Whenever you spend money from ASB, it really should be about students, right? Benefiting your students' educational experience. So you never want your student body fund to become kind of the place for staff to start doing stuff for themselves or benefiting their own, just what they're doing in the classroom versus benefiting, helping all of you. And with community college, that's a harder line sometimes, but in K-12, for instance, if the district adopted a curriculum, then out of ASB, money couldn't be used for curriculum supplies. Community college, it's a little harder. We do use often money for things used in the classroom, but that has to flow through you guys. You have to really feel that it's enhancing your educational experience, not the faculty's educational experience. Pre-approved, we talked about, you do have to have all expenses pre-approved, and usually you're going to benefit a group of students, not individual students. The more likely I see an expenditure benefit